Hey, listeners. My name is Elisha, the founder of the Witnesses podcast. It's so beautiful to have you listening to our podcast. And I want you to know something that means a whole lot to me. Thank you for tuning in. And one thing I love to tell all of our listeners is it's not just about you listening, but listening to understand. Understanding is the most important thing. So important. So, you have to listen, learn, and practice. Thank you so very much and happy listening.
Hi, Sabine. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
That's so good. Okay, oftentimes I love to talk about the essence of this show, which is to invite amazing guests, amazing guests like Sabine to come talk to us about their triumphant stories. Because we believe that in our audience, there might be someone who is stuck up in a situation that Sabine came out of triumphantly. Sorry? Sorry about that. Okay, so
No
By,
worries.
yeah, by that person or people listening to you speak, he or she might actually pick an information from you that will lead to their transformation. So it's all about transforming people's life through other people's triumphant stories. You get it? So, Sabine, within the next few minutes, let us get started with your story, the challenges that you faced, and how you overcame them. Then afterwards, I've got some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Sabine, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm trying to think which situation to pick. um, Probably one of the most difficult situation was when I was surprised by somebody in my home when I was asleep, and that person attacked me in my sleep, and then ended up beating me and tried to rape me. And that was something I really, really struggled with. It was probably one of the hardest things for me to overcome in my life. I suffered a lot from PTSD afterwards. I had a very hard time sleeping, and I I had a hard time getting out of bed. It was very difficult. The whole legal struggle with it was very difficult, and um, I was scared of what else that person could do to me, and so that was challenging all around. Um, the thing that saved me and actually has turned this whole experience into, and I know this sounds crazy, but sound like has turned it into a gift and has changed my life profoundly in a way that I would have never expected it to, was I discovered working out. And um I remember, I don't really remember how long afterwards, but it was a few weeks and I was spiraling. Like I said, I had a hard time getting out of bed. I started drinking and I didn't go to work anymore. And then somebody said to me, said, "Oh, there's a new workout place nearby and they just opened. Why don't you try that?" And I did. And I swear I thought it was gonna kill me. It was so difficult. I remember walking home afterwards and I got to my house, I opened the front door and I laid down in the front hallway and I just laid there and I thought, oh my goodness, I think I'm gonna have a heart attack. It was really challenging physically,
Yeah.
because I had never worked out like that. It was a HIIT training, and as hard as it was, I went back for more because I realized that working out like that did something to me in here and in here. And I realized it made me feel better. And so sometimes I would go 2, 3 times a day, I would go work out. And from there, I lost a lot of weight. I stopped drinking because all of a sudden I felt better and I started to embrace that healthier lifestyle. So I didn't want to drink anymore. I ate healthier and I overall felt better and better. And I started to feel stronger and I started to feel stronger physically, but also emotionally. And I discovered a whole new lifestyle from that. I became a professional bodybuilder and I basically at 48, I think. I mean, who starts that at 48, you know? And I got introduced to an amazing community in Los Angeles in the bodybuilding, and I became a inspiration for others with what I had experienced and what I had overcome. So I went from hitting complete rock bottom to like having a life that is so much better than it ever was before. And yeah, so that was probably one of my hardest things to overcome. Um, but I have many examples in my life where I have overcome situations. Like when I was 19, I was homeless in Toronto, and when I take inventory of all of the times that were really hard for me and that I have overcome, there was always this faith that I was going to be okay, that things were going to work out. And people always said to me, said, how do you know? Like, aren't you worried that something is not going to work out? Like, even like I've had multiple businesses in my life, like I always went in it with my heart full of passion for what I was doing, but also this unbelievable faith that I am taken care of, I am provided for, and I will be fine if I just follow my heart. And I think that's what really ultimately has gotten me through so many things in life where other people couldn't understand that I had the resilience to go on, and make it through that.
That's a great gift that you have, Sabine. You know, faith. Wow, that's really a great gift, I tell you. Okay, so let us dive into the questions. Are you ready?
Yes, yes,
All
I am.
right. So let us talk about success alchemy. So how can one unlock one's inner superpower? Got that?
Say that again.
Okay.
I couldn't
Let's
hear the beginning.
okay. All right. Let's say someone asks you, "Hey Sabine, how can I unlock my inner superpower?" What would your response be?
How can you unlock your inner superpower?
Yes.
I believe that we all have that superpower, and it's our feelings. It's our feelings that if we get clarity on how we want to feel, then we can create a vision with that. And I remember when I was way, way younger, like I was a kid, and um, my parents would say, "Oh, you're such a daydreamer." And back then, I wasn't consciously connected to this. Today I am, but back then I wasn't. But my entire life, I used my feelings to create visions of what I wanted things to be like, what I wanted it to feel like. Like, people often think they manifest things by imagining, I'm going to live in the big house, or I'm going to drive that big car. But that's really not how it works. How it really works is that you create a vision of what you want to feel like, and you live that before it's even so. And that's what I think is our greatest superpower, because it will take us to places that we can't even possibly imagine. Like, I could have never imagined that my life would have turned out the way it did, or I could have never imagined um, that I would go from something really horrible to changing my life in such a positive way. I think there is, beyond our imaginable, beyond the possibilities that we can come up with, that's where our feelings can take us if that's what we're focused on.
Okay. Beautiful. Sorry, the network was. Okay. So, the second question, Sabine. Sorry.
Okay, here you are.
Yeah. All right. So the second question.
Yes.
It's a very important one, and I'm so eager to get the answers from you. All right. So he says, so he says, what is the difference between achieving and becoming? You got that?
Yes. Um, Achieving is really the materialistic goals that we set ourselves. Um, or it's the title in our job, or it's the money that we want to make, or it's the house that we want to live in, or the kind of car that we want to drive. That's achieving. But becoming is when you are truly aligned with what you are, not who you are, because you can be many things and not be truly aligned, but with what you are. Um, it's your core, your authentic self. When you follow your soul path and you figure out what your purpose is, then you are becoming. You are truly becoming.
But
And I believe, if I can add that, I believe that I think we are trained, we are educated, we are programmed to achieve. And at some point, some of us are lucky enough to wake up and say, wait a second, is that it? Is that really what I'm here for? Or there's got to be more to this life. And that's when you become truly who you are meant to be and the kind of life that you are meant to live. And that's beautiful. It's so blissful. It's so joyful. And then you don't need any of the other stuff. And it's really stuff. I mean, I decided last year I was going to get rid of everything that I owned, and I sold everything. I sold my business. I sold my house, all my furniture, my car. I reduced my entire life down to 2 suitcases, and I left for Europe. I got on a plane, and I own really nothing anymore. And my life has gotten so easy and so beautiful. And because I am becoming, and I don't need any of this other stuff anymore that we spend so much time and energy and money on. That's so not important, really, at the end of the day. I live in a rental now that, you know, I don't care what's on the wall, honestly. If I'm in my bliss and I'm doing what I love doing, then so many things that seem so important to us are just not. It's not relevant. But that's when you know you are becoming.
here's another.
Yes. When I was training really hard over the last 2 years for the bodybuilding, and I would get up at 4:30 every morning and I spent 3 hours in the gym in the morning, um, people would wonder and they would say, how come you're so disciplined um, with working out like that? And um, I would tell them, I would say, it's not discipline, because discipline can only take us so far, but it is the motivation that we have for what we do. And I believe that motivation comes before the discipline does. And I think it's the motivation that carries us through. And I also believe that that's where our superpower comes back in, where our feelings, when you envision of what you want to feel like, of what you want to, like when you get up in the morning and you think about, oh my God, this is what it's going to feel like when I work out legs today and I push really hard, and it's that beautiful feeling of the blood running through your veins and your muscles getting all pumped up, and like that's what gets you out of bed. It's not There's no hammer coming down, especially at our age where anybody's standing now, so you have to go to the gym now. Like, no, you do this out of motivation, of your feelings motivate you, like how you want to feel, how you want to feel at the end of the day or after your workout. And that's the motivation. And that's what people confuse with discipline. But you got to check in with your feelings. You got to know what those feelings are that motivate you and how you want to feel.
Beautiful. Okay, I am really enjoying our conversation, Sabine. I tell you, it's been a very, very
Thank you.
beautiful moment. Okay, so yeah, in conclusion, let's say there is a piece of advice you'd like to give to the audience. What would that be? And let's say there are people listening and they would like to reach out to you, learn more about you. How can that be possible?
My piece of advice. It's so broad. It's such a loaded question. But I believe that we need to free ourselves from the expectations that are put upon us by whether it's society or parents or educators. We need to get back down to, again, I'm saying it again, to our feelings of what it is that we are, that makes us tick, that motivates us to change our situations that we're in, to grow, to become more, to, find that purpose, to find the reason why we're here. And that happens by tuning out everybody and everything else that's coming at us, because there's a lot. There's, like I said, there's educators and there's parents and there's social media and then there's politicians and there's society. I mean, it's all coming at us, but we need to learn to tune that out and say, okay, I need to go inward and figure out really what I am about. And then tune into those feelings and let them inspire us, motivate us to find our way. That would be my advice.
A beautiful
The
advice.
broadest.
That's a great advice, I tell you. A very important one.
Thank you. And then, well, there is, I have a podcast which is called The Power Life, and it drops weekly. And I have a website that's called thepowerlifecoach.com, where people can find me and can find more information about me. And yeah, that's really, I'm also on LinkedIn as Sabine Schoepke, but really the easiest is the website, thepowerlifecoach.com, and there you can find all my links and links to the podcast and my social media. And yeah, and then there's a book I have written. I published my first book last year. It's called The Love Odyssey. It's about having better relationships in our lives. And it's a quick and easy little read that I wrote based on my own experiences. And yeah, that's really all.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the show, Sabine. Thank you so very much for your time. Thank you for honoring the invite. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being on here. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this incredible episode. Your support means the world to us, and we truly value you. We look forward to having you join us for the next episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback is greatly appreciated.